dum 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 dum
Space between, space between, space between. Space between.
Yeah, this is the Space Between podcast where we talk about the space between life and art, passion and business, what's happening now and what's happening next. I'm Pat Shand.
I'm Amy Shand.
You know, I was watching an old episode last night just because, we can't see our friends right now, and some of my buddies have been in episodes, so I wanted to see my beautiful friend Twan's face.
Aww.
And I kind of miss how I used to start. I used to go, "Why hello."
Oh, yeah.
This is the Space Between podcast. But as I've gotten more relaxed, it's yeah.
That's your line. That's been your line ever since I met you.
I want to mix it up, just
Why hello?
Why hello, So we have a guest in the house, and today's a special day. We're recording this on Tuesday, April. You have good eyes. Can you see what?
21st.
21st. Okay, April 21st. We are happy to welcome Vita Ayala onto the Space Between podcast.
Hello.
Hi. We are collaborating right now on a graphic novel called CHERRY GILBERT, NECROMANCER. And
We have a cat.
Oh,
Sorry.
hey, no. I love that
That's
shit.
awesome.
I was just on this panel, and my favorite part of it was when Chi-Chi, my, our calico, just dominated the entire thing, just strutted past, I mean, if I were them, I probably would have blurred what she showed, but hey.
No, we love cats. That's so awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
Look at that baby.
I'm going to let you introduce yourself, but first, before I forget this question, because my mind is racing today for so many reasons, which we'll get into. But first, how many cats do you have?
We have two cats, two boys, Chubs and Bubs.
Chubs and Bubs?
Guy's Chubs. Yeah.
Oh.
And then Bubs is sitting on the couch, completely ignoring me.
Hey, Bubs, if you hear this, I would love to meet you in person. That would be
Someday.
great.
Mm-hmm. That's the goal, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Because the thing is, if we had not, if this situation wasn't going on, you would probably be here, right? We would be doing this in person.
Yeah.
And that would be awesome. We only started these guest meetings on Zoom once things got a little crazy,
Yeah,
So,
for
yeah.
sure. How many cats do you guys have? Or y'all have?
We have 4. We have 4.
Well, right now, we lost our oldest cat last year. And I always say, 5, now 4, because the 5 is like our cat family that we have always had.
Yeah.
So, but
That's
yeah,
fair.
we love our cats. We're totally cat crazy. So
Yeah,
Excellent.
we have Wesley, who passed. We have Odo, Neil, Chi-Chi, and Hoyt.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to
Good
call... What was that?
Good names.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Chi-Chi is short for Chihuahua because I grew up with dogs, and I've always joked with Pat about wanting a small dog, and I was in the process of doing research about getting a Chihuahua.
Yeah, I was going to say joked.
Well, I always joked about it, but at this point I was actually looking into it.
Yeah.
And but we ended up going to the pet store, and Chi-Chi was a rescue story, so we saved her, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to call her Chihuahua instead. It's an even bet. And to me, she's better than a Chihuahua, no offense. But I still love dogs, but...
Yeah.
Of course. Dogs are
cat
great
fan.
too.
So, cats are all introduced. Can you tell us a bit about yourself, just in your own words? What are your favorite projects? How would you want to introduce yourself to our meager but excited audience?
Oh, no pressure. What are my favorite projects? It's hard to pick, right? It's hard to pick between your children. And also, I've had a lot of really great experiences. So I always say that the one that I'm working on right now is my favorite because it is what I'm involved in. But I would be lying if I didn't say that, I have a soft spot for my creator-owned work. I do both licensed and creator-owned comics.
Yeah.
And so I have a couple of mine behind me to hide the mess in my apartment, The Wilds and Submerged. And so those two hold a special place in my heart, for sure. especially because I got to work with, a bunch of my friends. So that's pretty great. I also very much enjoyed working on that very short Cherry Gilbert story that I did for you.
Oh, thanks. Thank you.
That's also on the shelf, but it's further down.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to have you. I mean, there are so many small elements that make up a great writing collaboration. And what I found great about your story, and this was in Destiny New York Volume 2, for those who want to check it out. It was a story that, one, I wouldn't have thought to tell on my own, but it fit beautifully in the universe. 3, I enjoyed reading it after it was done, and I still enjoy looking back at it. And 4, and this is maybe the best, right? You made it easy. You know what I mean?
It was easy to write. You gave me really great material to work with, and I had a blast. So
yeah, because I mean, I'm sure that you have experienced, some difficult times in this industry.
Sure.
I've experienced 4 of those times today.
Pat had a hard morning.
Yeah, I've been stressing today.
It's not even like 2:15 yet, and he's like had such a bad day.
Yeah. Did you see my mistake on the Kickstarter that I tweeted about or no?
No, I didn't notice it. If it was there.
Yeah, it's gone now. But what I did was this. Okay. I do these early bird levels. Okay. Where
Right.
I'll have you can essentially get the standard cover for $5 left, or $5 less, or the variant for $15 less. Right. And I got a
because it's
Yeah, just like a real steep discount, and that's only for I think 25 on the standard and 30 on the variant. And at about 15 pledges in, I got a message asking if there was a mistake in shipping, because the U.S. price was higher than the Canadian price.
Oh wow!
And I checked it out, and I flipped them. I had international general $5, Canada 18, and the United States $20.
So it's like a mistype of the numbers, basically. Simple as that.
Yeah. And I learned an amazing lesson, which is that people will still back that, because I had to message each one, and I had to change the limit of the reward down to the number of people who already pledged, so no one would do it anymore, because you can't just delete the reward. Kickstarter won't let you do it. So I had to message them and just say, hey, there's a new level. If you do that, you get a free pin. Just please change levels, and as soon as you do, tell me, because if you don't, someone else will get this weird level. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh man! So I I was sitting on my computer just hitting refresh to see if that number dropped, and finally that cursed level is gone. So
He's like sitting on the computer, like, check your email. Yeah.
Yeah.
He felt bad.
I'm glad that it worked out, but that is stressful as hell.
Yeah. And it was early enough on that someone luckily told you and you caught it, and now it's fixed. So
yeah.
it's
I
not
feel
like
like
it
the
happened
people that like your stuff in particular are really like supportive and kind, which is great.
Yeah, we have great fans at Space Between.
That's actually great to hear. Because I'm always in my head, and I want to ask you about how you feel about this, and if you're the same way. But I do really go back and forth between 2 extremes, and the one extreme is I sort of sometimes in my head, that Drake song Trophies?
Yes.
I feel that in my head about myself sometimes. I'm like, yeah, I did it, and that's like how. Say I hit a nice goal on Kickstarter, or if I do a good script, my confidence is just sky high, right? But on the other hand, when I hit a lower point, I feel no one in the industry likes me, and that my books will never get enough support to continue. And that's like not a good thing to say, like marketing wise, on the day of the Kickstarter
It's just what
launch.
you get paranoid about.
Yeah, but it's just how I feel. So
Sure, you're a human being.
Yeah.
You have doubts, for sure.
Yeah. So do you go through that kind of stuff too?
I have no self-confidence or self-esteem, so like it helps that I'm just always at the same level. But I'm stubborn, so I just keep going. It's almost the opposite. When I feel like I've done something well, I'm like, that's it. It doesn't get better. I'm screwed. I lucked into it or something, like whatever it is. But then when I am kind of at a low point, I'm like, well, what's the worst that could happen?
That's a good.
Let's keep rolling.
You know, I mean, I'm kind of jealous of that one. That one's good. That one's good because I mean, I've in this quarantine that we're going through right now, there's all this pressure to create, and fuck, sure. I mean, it's been hard. Like the podcast stuff has been easy. We've even added a second episode per week, wow. and I love this stuff because I feel like if I could do a second career, I would love to be a comedian, right? But I don't have the chops to be on stage, so I like to just joke around and just do fun bits here.
You like to make songs? Yeah,
I make songs on the podcast, and yeah, so that's been easy. But the actual putting my nose. What's that phrase, to the grindstone? What is that?
Nose to the grindstone. So like when people used to make, I guess it's like glasses or glass.
Yeah.
You have to get really close so you can see what you're doing, right? You're grinding down the glass. I just made that up on the spot, but I assume that that's the case.
No, that sounds, you know, I'm going to go with that. That sounds very intelligent.
Yeah,
and in fact,
historical.
Yeah. My mom has been FaceTiming us, and she has this little trivia book, and Amy and I have been doing trivia every night.
Remember Brain Quest?
Oh yes, I love that
kind of
stuff.
She's got a bunch of Brain Quests at her house.
Yeah.
So one day she pulled one out, and we've just been going through it.
Yeah, every night we're on a Brain Quest.
We are.
And I feel like you would crush it at Brain Quest just because you knew that one thing.
Hell
you know?
Yeah. Random facts.
But
some of them are ridiculous, but.
Oh yeah, no. Some are so obvious, and some because it's supposed to be 5th grade level.
We're on a 5th grade level. Yeah.
I feel like I'd fail very badly. 5th graders are way smarter than I am.
Yeah,
dude,
the things
it's
they
crazy
learn.
how long it's been since I've done like that math and stuff. You know.
Can you do an impression of me when there's a math question?
Well, I'll do an impression of how you used to be before I reprimanded you.
Yeah, I had to stop.
And you corrected your actions.
Yeah.
That's a good thing about Patrick, is that when he's reprimanded and it makes sense, he corrects his actions. Mm-hmm. And so, like...
You're learning.
He learns.
I really do try.
So, I think I'm getting allergic to cats because I've been sneezing a lot and my eyes are watery right now.
It looks like you're crying right now.
Like, did you hear me sneezing earlier?
No.
But anyways, anyway, that's another story. So, we were playing Brain Quest, and like, I was getting frustrated in a funny way though, because it doesn't matter because it's Brain Quest. But like every time there would be a math question, sometimes we'd have a problem with like who says the answer first or whatever. So like if there was a question and either his mom or I would have a guess, there's no like. Whoever has the answer is supposed to say the answer, their guess. There's no bells. There's no order. Pat would just be like, wait, while he's doing the math in his head, even though both her and I already have the answer.
Yeah.
We're like, not how the game works.
And then,
but then as soon as there's a question where he knows the answer first, there's no waiting for us. He just says the answer, like, super fast.
I'll say that.
So I explained that to him, like, how come you say, wait, when you have to think?
Right.
But when you don't have to think, no one has to wait.
I'll say this.
So he laughed about it.
That is a very charitable version of the story. Because the truth is, I did say wait, but I also plugged my ears with my fingers.
Yeah. It was like a young child. Like he'd be like, wait, I'm thinking, like that.
Just because, watch this, okay?
Oh my god.
Numbers, right?
I'm terrible with numbers.
Yeah, right. They're the hardest ones.
They switch around in my head and stuff like that. Like I have a hard time doing.
I write it down on my leg with my finger, like.
That's what you just said, right? Is why I feel like we're on the same page as far as this goes. You know, because if I heard one number from Amy or my mom, That'll be it.
It's all to shit.
It will become everything I built in here.
It just tumbles down like a house of cards.
Yeah, so he had to plug his ear holes.
Yeah.
I feel like as long as you're being equitable and everyone, like, if you're waiting for you, then we're waiting for everybody. Like, that makes sense, because it's not just like my brain is so impressionable that I can't even have like a conversation and write something at the same time. Like, even a note to myself, I'll just write down what's being said. Like, I can't function. So like, whenever I play games like that, I have to I've trained myself to just think really fast or give up immediately.
Me too, kind of, because as soon as I hear, like, what's the decimal, I'm like, well, fuck it.
Yeah, no, it's done. Any math, I'm like,
give me a
with
pen
this
and
round.
paper or else.
I have a question that just came up because you said that you're very impressionable, and I feel the same way as far as just I kind of have like one channel where I process. Like, I can't listen to music really while I write. So my question to you is, because I do this and I've never asked a writer this, and I'm so curious, when you write a line of dialogue that you're like, that line, that's a good line, do you have to Google that line to make sure it's never been said before? Because I feel like when I strike gold, I'm like, there's no way that hasn't been said. There's no way.
I truly believe that there are very few sentences in the English language that haven't already been said. Like, I don't get caught up in that. What I try to make sure is that I'm not taking something wholesale that has been said before. Like, I'm not taking chunks of dialogue, but like, if there's a turn of phrase, I'm like, suck it up. Like, it is what it is. Or, if unless it's something that sounds super iconic,
Right.
I'm just like, it's in the collective now. Like, it's for everybody.
Yeah.
So I have done it on occasion when it's particularly sounds like almost epic. I'm like, I must have stolen this whole thing from someone. Like, there's no way that I just came up with it. But otherwise, I'm just like
somewhere in your subconscious, you remember it from something.
You know what? That is what it is. It's the iconic lines. My probably time where I searched these things the most was when it was early in my tenure at Zenescope. I was a staff writer there for 4 years, and I was writing this big event book where every few scenes a character had like a big entrance, and they would say like a big entrance line, and I would always go, is this line, is that mine? You know what I mean?
That's where I get paranoid? When sometimes I'll make up like a line for like a song, and I'm like, is this a real song? Did I just steal this? Because that I get a little bit more paranoid about. Yeah. Just because music people they're not as forgiving, which is understandable.
Yeah. I've been thinking that like this whole conversation that like there's been several times when I'm like, oh, I want to sit down and like write a song, and then I just argue with myself like, everything that I want to say or have felt has already been written about in a song.
That's an interesting sentiment, because people say that about other stuff too, like movies or like books or whatever. And my response to that is maybe the core sentiment has been touched on before, but your take on it is your own. Literally no one else in this world can have your take on it.
That's a good answer, because everyone has different brains and experiences and everything like that.
Exactly. Your perspective is completely different. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So,
Well, thanks.
Yeah, go write a song.
I'm re-inspired.
Wait, so I didn't know you write music?
Not really. On occasion, I'll write.
They're like, don't ask me that much about
it.
I'm not going to perform.
I try my hand at any kind of writing that's available, but I'm not good at a lot of it, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with being bad in private.
Do you practice like an instrument, or would you consider yourself like a vocalist?
Oh, I'm only a vocalist when I'm drunk and at karaoke.
I love karaoke.
I have a guitar that I haven't for a while now, but I used to sit down like once a day and just play with, and then like make up like little riffs and stuff like that. And instead of coming up with like songs, I'd come up with like stories behind them. So like it'd be less like a song and more like almost like an epic poem, as I was like.
That would be awesome at like an open mic night or something.
So one time when I was a teenager, I've been friends with Erica Henderson, who drew like Squirrel Girl and
Oh, I know Erica. Yeah.
Yeah, she's wonderful. She's one of my favorite people. We've been friends since we were teenagers. And one time we were over at a friend's house, and we were in his basement, and he had like a Casio keyboard, like one of the big ones. And he pulled out a copy of the Silmarillion, and she started playing like synth, just like making it up, and he started reading the
That's
Silmarillion.
cool.
And that's just like, to me, that's what like true jamming is.
That's awesome.
So sometimes I try and recreate that like by myself with my guitar. Not very
really
good
cool.
at it.
That sounds like a cool art.
Yeah, and that's cool that you know Erica as well. Erica was one of the first people in comics that I ever collaborated with.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we have. I mean, it's been like 10 years, so it's for sure never going to happen. But we have this pitch together called Paparazzi about a world where superheroes are real, and there's a team of paparazzi who follow them around, and yeah, it's a fun book, and the art I still have it, you know.
That's awesome.
But yeah, no, it's been cool to see that career just take off too. Erica's been doing amazing work.
Yeah, she's truly incredible.
For sure.
Squirrel Girl is awesome. I dressed one of my Barbies as Squirrel Girl, remember?
Oh, yeah.
I took pictures of her.
That's adorable. I love it.
So, quarantine-wise, how have you been handling it as a writer, as a person? Are you brain questing, or are you doing a lot of work, or how's it going?
It's been hard to kind of find the right energy level where you're motivated to work but not panic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's just trying to thread the needle. I have been doing the work that I have, for sure. I am in a quarantine pod, like in an isolation pod with my building, because there's only 3 apartments. Then we're really good friends. Me and my wife are very good friends with both the people below us and above us. So we have kind of an isolation pod of 7 people. We've been quarantining for like 6 weeks together now.
Oh, sick.
That's cool. Community.
So yeah, that's really been wonderful, because we'll have dinner with like one apartment or the other, or all 3 apartments, and like we'll watch movies. We have a very small backyard. We live in Brooklyn, so we live in like a building that was not remade. It's still, everything is still old inside, which is great. But it is now units instead of one big building. But we have a small backyard, and so we go back there sometimes and play Frisbee. Or like read.
Awesome.
Like there have been a couple of nice days where we can go outside and read. So I'll read for fun, which is my new thing during quarantine. I almost never read for fun before. I read a lot, but I would read for homework.
Yo,
I'm just like, you know what?
Yep.
I kind of just want to just read for fun, just something not even tangentially related to what I'm working on.
Definitely. It's good for you.
Yeah, it's actually that is one of the things that has really helped me kind of keep a more positive attitude. Is kind of finding a work-life balance.
It's for what we do, it's so hard.
It is, because I work, I work in my living room. I don't work in my bedroom. My wife works from home and has her own office in the back. So, but I get up and I move one room over, and then I just sit at the same spot. And then this is also the room where we watch TV. So like, it's easy to get stuck in a rut, but doing things that I enjoy and forcing myself to relocate has been really useful.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person who writes compulsively. I don't do it just because I'm getting paid. Like, it's the only constant in my life that I've ever had. And so like, even though I've been having kind of a little bit of trouble finding that motivation, I still have to force myself to do stuff. I designed a game today.
For real?
So spoilers for things that aren't announced yet, I guess. Shh.
Wait, hold on. No. Do not stop there. I have a question about the game, okay?
And if you want, we can, it's not live, so if anything's like not talk aboutable yet, he can always edit it so that it's like beep.
Yeah, if you want to me to bleep, I'll do it there and just right now, okay?
Yes, perfect.
I once tried to write a game because I was given the opportunity to do so, but it was going to be one of those online kind of choose your own adventure novels.
I love that kind of stuff.
It's so cool. I love to play it.
I like to play them too.
I've written a few actually. I love them.
Oh, beautiful. I have a question for you about these because they were making me not only write the story but also like code it too. And I can't do that. So I've felt this
reaction because
No, that reaction immediately like kind of picked my mood up, because I have felt for 4 years that I fucked this opportunity up because
No, you did not.
I tried and I couldn't do it. You know what I mean?
Unless they were paying you coding money.
Yeah.
It's a different job, right? Yeah.
It's a different job, and people get paid a lot of money for that.
Yeah.
Like
They try
like
to
the
trick
kind of
you.
money where they look at what we do and just go and then walk away. Like there's no way.
Yeah.
So no, you did not fuck that up. But I'm designing a board game.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's exciting.
It's so funny.
That's exciting.
The little girl that I babysit was like, I FaceTimed her on her brother's birthday a few weeks back. She was in the process of being on FaceTime with her friend at her friend's house or whatever. They were, social distancing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They were in the process of designing a board game together. They both had a
Incredible.
board at each of their houses, and they were writing it out, and they had it all. And she's a little genius.
Very.
That's
cute.
incredible.
Very cute.
That's so
That's so
awesome.
wonderful.
Good for you.
Oh, that is awesome. That's that kind of thing. I feel like you and I both work. I think primarily in comics still, right?
Yes.
We I feel that the idea of breaking out of that medium is very helpful for both us as writers in just the overall health of our writing life, and just also bringing a new eye to comics. Because when I am in a mode where I just read and write comics, I feel that it's so easy to fall into a pattern of, okay, this page will be best with 5 panels in general for this issue, and bring out for a splash page for the big moments. It's just so easy to get stuck in that. But personally, I feel refreshed when I try something else and then come back to comics.
I agree. I've been working on a prose project. I guess it was announced, so I can talk about that a little bit. But I'm involved in the Jessica Jones cereal box project, which is super great.
Yeah.
And so I've been able to kind of go back and forth between comics work and prose work. And I'm also working on another prose story for an anthology that just got picked up called Reclaiming the Stars, which is, I'm super stoked. Sci-fi fantasy, Latinx, anthology.
That's awesome.
I actually started in prose. The first thing I had published was a prose short story in a magazine. And that was always kind of how I viewed myself, as like a short story writer.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to touch back on it. You need variation in your life. You can't eat the same thing every single day, every single meal, and you can't do the same thing every single day.
100%.
I agree.
Yeah. I started writing plays. Amy's written comics now, and you started singing and making clay.
Even when I was in high school, there was a project that a theater project for the summer that my theater director put together for people that signed up. It was the group of basically everyone that was in theater. And I was chosen, my scene was chosen. Remember? I wrote a scene.
Oh yeah.
For live theater with a song included. So technically it was a musical scene.
That's awesome.
That's incredible.
But I was
That's
only 16. But still, I've always just been mostly, as far as writing goes, a journalist, as just journaling.
Yeah.
I've always had a journal ever since I was little. When I was very young, I remember this one time, and I love to scrapbook, and that's why I love to make crafts and clay and things like that. Because even back when I was journaling as a kid, I would go to a lake and feed ducks with my mom, and I would pick up. It's probably gross, but whatever. I'm a witch, so. I would pick up a feather off the ground from the ducks that were around and stuff, and I would go and tape it, laminate it into the journal, and I'd write a poem around it, and turn it into
That's
a work
awesome.
of art, mixed media and stuff.
Yeah.
But because of Pat, I've had a few things published.
Yeah.
But
That's awesome.
Super team English over team math. And always
Yes.
been a
Yeah.
writer. Ever since I was younger, I've been more of a creative type.
Yes, and I do want to say, it's not just because of me though; it's because of you as well.
Yeah, but I thank you for the opportunities and stuff.
Yeah,
I
for
wouldn't be emailing people hey, can I get mine?
It's hard to put yourself out there.
He's
sure
really
is.
good with the networking and shit.
That actually brings me to a question that I had that I in talking about that Choose Your Own Adventure novel, that was the first project I ever turned down. No, actually, second. The first one was actually on moral grounds, which is saying a lot for me because my philosophy has always been. Yeah, sure. If I have a gig that will pay, it's on me to support my family if this is what I've chosen to do. That my family has put in a lot of faith in me to do something that is difficult to make happen. So when I can get money, just don't care about building a brand. Don't worry about how it looks. Take it. But that led to me, I didn't always love some of the covers that Zenescope had. And then with Avatar Press, a moment that I had where I kind of questioned my career was because the stories are just like extreme horror stories, but some of the covers are like
extreme porn.
Kind of, yeah. Like, and the truth was, I wasn't shown the covers. I didn't know because they put out like 40 covers per issue, and then with the next month of solicits, they'll add more covers. And
so, like it's hard too because there's like people. It's like a niche,
Yeah.
There's collectors of those things. So just like you, there's people that read comics their entire life and they'll never see that. You know?
So what led me to this kind of moral quandary was I was high off of the excitement of doing my first Breathless signing. And Vita and I had our Black Mask books come out at the same time, pretty much. Vita had The Wilds with Emily Pearson, and I had Breathless with Renzo. And I went to a comic shop to do a big Breathless signing, and at the end, the owner played a prank on me because they had bought this limited version of an Avatar book that I had done, and I didn't. I mean, they must have known that I didn't know what it was, right? So they stacked a big bunch of Breathless on top of this one comic. And I was just signing Breathless, excited. And then I came to the end, and it's a cover that is literally just an ass. And I looked at it, and
it wasn't not just an ass. It was like an open.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to get vulgar.
Yeah, but you have to there's an ass just standing there. That's art.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then there's like the vulgarness of what you saw.
I'll tell you this.
Making yourself sound like a wussy.
I saw it, and it was as if I had become one of the fucking Sopranos. I saw it, and I said, "Whoa!" I couldn't believe my eyes, and I went home, and I was like, I have perverted my career, but
you didn't.
But then I thought more about it, and I was like, you know what? The regular book exists. That's not really a thing that most people have. It was just a joke. I get it. I'll move on. And I say all this to go to the book that I declined for the first time. And this is all leading up to a question I have for you. After all that, I was offered a book about... And I won't even say who it was because this publisher has been great for me and is very well-meaning, and it was just a high concept that I couldn't go with. It was about a killer priest who kills sinners, okay? And the priest is the hero of the book, and I was offered the book, and for the first time, I was just like, I flat out can't take this because the lead character would kill me. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
kill me, my friends, definitely you, So those were my first two big I can't do this. It was the Killer Priest and the Code, which I just mentally I couldn't do it. I couldn't learn it.
Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah.
For the amount of money I'm sure they were offering you, it's not worth even learning.
No, it's not. So I wanted to ask you, and expose as much or as little as you want. Are there any big gigs or even small gigs that in the course of your career that you've turned down?
Definitely. Most of them have not been on moral grounds. It's just been, I had this problem, especially in the beginning of getting more work, where I was afraid that it would dry up. And so I said yes to everything.
Yeah.
And so I found myself writing way too much, which is a wonderful problem to have, except that I felt and I knew that I wasn't giving my 100% to each project. And I don't, but I felt at the time, I was like, I have to be grateful because all these people are offering me work and blah, blah, blah. But there was one project that was offered to me by someone who's a friend of mine at a company that I love working for because they pay on time and I like their books.
That's rare, huh?
It's delightful. And they're my best paying gig. And I just didn't have the bandwidth and it was just a bad time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm so sorry. Like at first I was like, I really want to do this. Right. And then, I always ask for reference material. Yeah. Just as much as possible. I like to do my homework. And I got it and I started reading it and I emailed and I was like, hey, I can't. It's not you. Clearly, this person is my friend. And also I love working with them. But it's just too much. And it felt terrible because there were people that would kill to be able to, do what we do. Right.
Yeah.
But also it felt terrible because I felt like I was letting down my friend. But I was like, I'll die. And, they were really gracious. They were like, of course, and we'll work together in the future. And we ended up working together later. Yeah. Another I turned down because the timing for it, the commitment and the turnaround was absolutely bananas. Yeah. And I was willing to do it with the person who I initially spoke with. I was like, for you, we vibe, how I work. I have an idea of how you work. I'll do it. It was like, I can't get into details because it's like the thing, but like, it was the kind of thing where if I spoke to you off pod candidly, you'd be like, that's actually impossible.
Oh, we will. Yeah.
But I was like, I'll give it a try. And then I heard back and that person was no longer on the project. And I was like, well, I'm not going to, and I heard back, it was something where like this project would have to be due the whole thing in a month or 2 months rather. And I had to have a full pitch for this very long project by the end of this week. And I didn't hear until the Friday back from them that anything was approved. And then it was, what I heard back was that person was no longer on it, but I could have the weekend to come up with this pitch. And I was like, no, I can't do that. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, that sounds like it's for the best. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I wish them the best. It's like, they were kind of in a hard place and it wasn't that they waited a long time. It's just that things had kind of like, the timing on a bunch of stuff had to line up, but I was like, I'm not the one. I'm not going to do this with a stranger.
Yeah, totally.
Like, no way.
Yeah, for sure.
It's hard though. It's hard. I've started to stop thinking about it as saying no and start thinking about it as not saying yes.
That's good. Yeah.
It helps me not feel as guilty because you're right. Like, I'm full-time freelance, which means my bills get paid through my work. And, the only reason I could do that is because my wife gave me her full support. She was like, if you're going to do it, like you should commit, you do it for a living.
Shout to the wives, Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she has good health insurance. It's great. But like, so anytime that I say no, I have to weigh all of that. Like, and she's very supportive. She is one of the people that's always like, you could say no to work. But like, I think about the fact that like, I chose to give up steady work. I was in a union. I worked security and I was in a union and that was decent pay and great benefits. You know what I mean? But I said, I'm going to do this instead. So I have to work. So yeah, every time a job comes my way, comes across my desk, I'm like, all right, let's do that math. I'm not good at math. Let's do that math.
No, it's so important. And
for sure.
Man, from what you just said, I have so many questions, and I do want to put a pin in a security question because
Sure.
But I'm going to get to that in a second. But I just want to say too, thank you for taking Cherry. It's
yeah, of course.
I'll tell you this: when I first spoke to Shannon about spinning Cherry off and inviting you to co-write, and Shannon, for those who don't know, is our editor on the book. She was also a co-host of the podcast early on.
We just live too far away.
Yeah, I was sure you were gonna say no, not because you wouldn't want to, but just because you're
low key too cool.
I mean, you have so many amazing projects, and we're a very small company, and it's when I look at your resume, it's properties that everyone loves and your amazing passion projects. So for you to work on a passion project of mine that is creator owned, and just that you would bring your talent to us is just, I think it's, you're my friend, but also I admire you. So that's, I'm really, really honored to have you, for real.
When you first asked me to do the short, I was super excited because there was a lot of good buzz for your stuff. And I had read some of Destiny #1. Yeah. And I don't know if you had given it to me or someone else had given it to me. I can't remember. My brain's not good. It's just Swiss cheese.
I mean, I'll go with it being someone else because that makes me feel real good. You know what I mean?
It could have been. Because I know a couple of people, not only that know you, but a couple of people who don't necessarily know you, but know your work.
For real?
Yeah, of course.
I'm for real always surprised.
He has no clue that he's cool.
Yeah, your Kickstarters get back for a reason because you put out quality work, and you understand how to put together a project. So I think that one of the things that's really important, right, is that not only are you skilled and talented at writing, but okay, I want to work with this person, this artist, this cover artist, this blah, 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 because comics are a visual medium. It's not just about the writing. Yeah, it's mostly not about the writing.
At working in a team, that's his forte. So
exactly, and you can feel that too in the work. You can feel that everyone was giving their all because they were enjoying the process. And so there are people that know your work. Sometimes there are people that don't know you're a dude. Because Pat could be Patricia.
Yo, let me tell you
anyone's name. It could be literally anyone's name. But there are people that are like, oh, that Pat.
Yeah. I got an email from someone asking if I would come out to them as trans because they wouldn't believe that I wrote Logan and Lilith. And I was just like...
Do not tell that person that you do our dishes and our laundry.
Yeah.
Then that's going to help their case.
I mean...
That's one of those weird things where it's dang.
Yeah.
But also
they were convinced that someone who was a hetero cis male would not be able to write in that way.
Yeah. I said thank you, but I was also like, yo, imagine I would feel so exposed, you know what I'm saying?
On the spot.
Yeah.
Come out to me.
Yeah.
I don't have to do anything. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're proof that it's possible.
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah, and working on that 6-pager with you, and Manuel was delightful.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, absolutely.
Was such a great experience that when you asked me, I was really thrilled. I was like, awesome. I love the character. I love, working on a team with you. I can't fucking wait. And the idea of I've never done an OGM before. Yeah. I know it's being broken up into, chapters, but I've never done, the format is different.
Right.
And so it was also I read your stuff and I'm like, you understand the format in a way that I want to understand. And so I'm acquiring that skill from you as we write. I'm watching how you put this together and how you think the pacing should work. And that to me, I'm really grateful that you would allow me to learn on this project.
Because, thank you. I mean, yeah.
I feel that's why I say that personally, I say that's why I say so strongly that you give me the opportunities that you have, because journaling is just all over the place and stuff, but yes, formatting is also one of your fortes, because with all the stories that we do, it's never you being okay, I hear your idea, but what about this one? It's you taking the idea that I told you and literally formatting it in a way that I can add dialogue to it.
Yeah.
It's lit.
Yeah,
and that's a thing too. That takes so much practice, and so to be able to partner with people,
writing an outline.
Yeah. So I think about this because I said I I initially used to write prose, like learning comics at all is so different, right?
So different, for sure.
And then learning the difference between a single issue and how to write for single issues or how to write for a graphic novel, that's really different too.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's also nice to do it with a friend because it's more fun.
Yeah.
Like it just, you know.
Definitely. The collab's more fun when it's a friend, you know.
Yeah, and you're crushing it, you know. It's what I feel is the difference as far as how I write comics versus graphic novels is that you know, I feel rebellious when I'm doing the graphic novels because when I hit a chapter that isn't 22 pages, part of me's like, fuck yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like now we could do that. Like say something happens in chapter 2 while we're writing it, that we want the chapter to be either 10 pages or 30 pages. We could do that, right? And no one's gonna be like, we can't print this because I will, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But no, I think that your storytelling is perfect for the format too, because you know, when people read a graphic novel, I feel that it's really the characters that keeps them there because, you know, monthly comics, and this is a big generalization, so it isn't always true, but there is that pressure to be like, all right, gotta hook them by the end, so they're back in a month, and they remember our story a month later, along with the 40 to 50 other stories that they've read. But a graphic novel, the idea is just like, live with the characters for a while. You're there. There's no worry about losing the reader. You already bought it. You know what I mean?
To me, like, I equate the graphic novel experience, cause I don't know if it's like because I just like smoke a bunch of weed or whatever, but like even when it comes to TV shows, like even the week in between the TV shows, so much goes on with like work and home and stuff that I'd like almost want to rewatch the episode before it.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
then that one. So like when it's a graphic novel, it's like the perfect balance in between being able to digest an entire novel, like beginning, middle to end, like the story, but you actually have the time to do it. Because it's been so long since I've had the time to pick up a book and read it, you know, like besides quarantine.
Yeah.
Right.
And the art is like you said, it's a piece of artwork, of work in itself. So like it's like the other artist's expression, but to me it makes it feel like I actually have time to read, and the stories are so good and the writing is so good. Yeah, there's not like as much of it as prose, but I can get through it and I can feel like oh wow, I completed that story and I got everything I needed to, and I had time to do it. Basically.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's like a short.
And also, too, a strength of, I love reading across the board. I love reading novels and graphic novels and zines. I'll read anything. Totally. But there's something about graphic novels. I love zines. They're amazing. Where I always think about rereadability and kind of putting things in that maybe you wouldn't notice the first time through, but do affect how you read it. But then when you go back and read it again, because like you said, you have time, you can go back and read. I can reread a graphic novel more often than I reread a novel.
Exactly.
And you see new stuff, and then it's almost like recontextualizes everything.
Yeah, and it even depends on where you are in your life when you read it too.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a fun project.
Absolutely. And I mean, what I love about graphic novels is what you just said. You can plan to make something small. How can I say it? In comics, right? Say when you're writing number 4, 5, or 6, likely number 1 is not only done but also in someone's hands, right? So you can't really add to it. With Destiny New York Volume 1, I added things to Chapter 1 when we were done with the entire book. You know, I added entire pages, and I've done that with most of these graphic novels, and then we'll probably do it with Cherry, where we get to the end and we see a sort of new discovery that we hadn't found, and then we could just plant seeds a bit earlier, and that's just
always evolving.
Yeah, it's just such a freedom to be able to do that, where we don't have to worry about page counts and
Yeah.
You know, to an extent, even where the page turn is, because it's more of an, you know, people just dive in. But I do want to just check really quick on our Kickstarter to see how that is going.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch over to
you
that
just
too.
said
I have a tab open where I've been refreshing it as well.
Oh,
'Cause
nice.
I feel like
I just love that art.
Thank you. You know, that actually that means a lot, because we work with a bunch of freelancers, and you have been the support and just push that you've been given just the campaign in the lead up and already during the actual campaign shows that you care a lot, and that's super nice.
Super appreciate.
you know, it's your world and they're your characters, but I feel like it's like when you're invited into someone's home, like you want to do your best to act right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like, I feel like, but also I really do, like, I believe in this project. I think that there's something really special here. I think that, you know, we're exploring and talking about things that are kind of universal in one way, but also really, really specific in another. And I think that it's going to be something that people get a lot out of, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And yeah,
we're at like 34%.
Yeah, we sure
or
are.
something like that.
Doing really good today.
Yeah. It's a great first day, and I think, I mean, I don't really believe
Despite
in
your
jinxes.
mistake.
Yeah, despite my mistake, you know, we're at 3,500 almost, and that's, I mean, it's great. It's I mean, it's just a nice, smooth first day. We started at 10. It's 3 now, and I'm just so excited to just see it happen. And just judging on how my previous Kickstarters have gone, I can safely say it's gonna be funded. It's just a matter of where it falls and when it happens.
Right.
Gangster Ass Barista on the full first 24-hour day did about 1,000 more than this. So we're currently on track to beat that and just be a stronger spinoff. You know, and that just
I'm really excited.
Yeah, it shows strength in the team, in the concept, and just hopefully as we build this universe of Destiny New York, we can just expand and grow. You know, I can see these characters being stories that I tell, that I tell with friends for a long time to come.
That's the hope.
Yeah, but you mentioned earlier that you worked in security.
I did. I worked at the Metropolitan Museum of Art for about 4 years. I worked day security and then night security.
You have any crazy stories?
Oh, yeah, many.
Any art thieves? No?
No art thieves, although there was someone who did fall asleep in a gallery. No one saw him.
Yeah. Not
Not my shift. When my shift came on, spotted. And then there was like a merry chase around the museum. He ended up hiding in, I think it was a carpet. He eventually got caught and gently escorted out.
Wait, hold on. So he fell asleep and then he ran?
Yeah, he was just freaked out. I mean, I'd be freaked out too if I like passed, like, you know, like took a nap in a museum and then woke up when everything was dark and creepy and then someone was yelling at me. I definitely would feel some type of way. So he booked it. But he didn't try to take anything. He didn't try to destroy anything. He was just freaked out. And eventually was like, okay, man, like, here you go.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yep.
That's a story he's telling to this day.
Yeah, for real. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
old guy or crazy looking guy or what?
Was he like a transient?
I don't know. I don't believe so. It looked like he had just. So there was I don't know if this is true. This is my conjecture, right? But there's a roof garden there where you can go and pay ridiculous amounts of money to get drinks, and people regularly get blasted up there. I don't know how.
Gotcha.
Can't fathom. It's like $12 for a single beer, so I don't know how. But it's hot because it's only open from like late spring through early fall.
Yeah.
So it's warm up there, and people get drunk. And I think that he had a bunch of drinks, came down to the gallery, laid down on a quiet bench, and woke up
Snoozed.
Oh my god!
at like 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. or whatever.
Aw.
Yeah, I have a bunch of stories. It's also haunted.
Ooh, that's the story I'm trying to hear.
Yeah, for real. I mean, I'll tell you this.
Pat's super scared.
I'm
of
already
ghosts.
scared. I'm
Yeah,
already
you should
scared,
be
but I'm interested.
I woke him up this morning with a haunted story from my my Facebook group, Haunted Finds or whatever, and Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'll just be
That's what kicked off
like,
the hard day.
Yeah,
oh
for
my
real.
God, I'm so sorry, lover. I'll light some sage later.
Thank you.
Yes, just smudge, please.
So museum ghosts, right?
So many. There's the most, I think, quote unquote famous one amongst the security guards was, so in the Met there's this whole wing called the Lehman wing, where the Lehman brothers, all of their art was donated, so it's all of their collection, and it's very eclectic. There's a bunch of stuff. It's furniture and paintings, whatever, blah, blah, blah. There's this painting, and I forget the name of it because I'm a bad ex-security guard. This woman in this like blue dress, very satiny dress with these almost like Leia buns going on.
Yeah.
Maybe she's French. She's probably an aristocrat or something.
Getting more scared. Okay, cool.
Yeah. She's very pale and beautiful, and has this like, she's like standing with this very like enigmatic expression.
Jesus Christ.
So in that section, there's only one couch that you can sit on. I don't know why they put it in the section, but it's in the room over. And so a lot of guards would go there, night guards and the like transition guards from, there's a shift that goes from when it's open through when the late guards show up.
Okay.
So part of their shift, it's open, part it's closed. So you go there for your break to take a nap. I don't, because the museum is haunted. But there have been over half a dozen people who have reported being on the couch, waking up, unable to move, and this woman from the painting leaning over them and tucking in, like, you know, like straightening their jackets, or if their jackets are around them, kind of tucking the edges around, or like touching their face. And they can't move, but they kind of feel very calm. And then she'll smile at them and leave. And then as soon as she's out of sight, like, they can move again. And that's been reported to multiple different chiefs by multiple different guards. It's just pretty wild.
That is, yeah.
That's the coolest thing ever. Let's go there.
Hey, I was
There's
going to
also
say,
like just really cool stuff that isn't haunted there. There's a, which you can't see clearly, but there's this sub basement. So in the sub basement, there's a boiler room, and you go into the boiler room, which has like a vinyl sticker on the door that looks like just like a field with a helicopter going over it. It's weird. Anyway, so you go into the boiler room. Usually I just have to check and see if it's locked. If it's open, then you close it as a guard. But if you go inside and around the big boiler, there's another door. You open that, and it opens into an elevator shaft for a freight elevator. Because a long time ago, they put a freight elevator shaft and then decided they didn't want an elevator there. But the shaft is there, and it flooded. So if you go in, you know, you walk in about 6 feet, and then there's this huge flooded shaft, and in it are koi fish.
Oh, get
it's
the fuck out.
Sub basement.
Someone made a koi fish pond?
Yeah, there's like secret koi fish.
That's pretty cool.
I'm about to get a new job.
Yo, I mean, I was about to ask, how did
That's
you...
the sickest.
How did you not quit, though, after the ghost stuff? You know?
You know...
Like, are you scared or no?
It's like a boiling frog. You just
Pat's always like, every time he's like, when we go to buy a house, I'm going to tell the person who's selling us the house, I'm going to ask them, did anybody die in here?
Probably. There's no land here where somebody else
died.
Right, that's not even... So the museum was the most kind of haunted place that I worked, but it wasn't super malicious. Like, there are some energies that were not... They were not good. But actually, I worked at a comic book warehouse, and there was something in there that had never been human, and it was fucking malignant. Excuse my language. It was gnarly. Jesus. I only saw it once. Like, I felt it a bunch, and it also did things. Like, it would play pranks on me in broad daylight, but I couldn't see it in broad daylight. But I used to... Sometimes I would open it, like open the warehouse. I got the keys and stuff. And I think one time I closed it, like the back area. And so I was opening, and I was turning on the lights, which you had to climb some of the shelving units and pull the string. And there was like this figure all the way at the back of this 2,000 square foot space. And it was like, it looked too big from where I was. And I was like, oh my God, is there someone in here? Did someone break in? Or is it like, you know, someone without a home who's like, just, I don't know. I didn't know what was going on. But I was like, all right, like, hello, like, super horror movie shit. I was like, hello, like, are you okay? No response. And I'm climbing, and I turn on another light, and I get to the second to last light, and then it like starts coming forward, and I'm like, that thing is way too big, and the shape is really weird. It's a cat buddy again.
That couldn't have been more scary what just happened. As soon as you said shape, you know?
It was like very large and like hulking, and its arms were way too long, like just way too long, and it had like really long fingers.
Slenderman?
Gross. And then you could like... It started moving towards the edge of the light, and I could hear like it sounded almost like metal on concrete because the floor was concrete.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm about to die here. Like, that's just it.
Yeah.
But I was like, I can't look away because as soon as I look away, game over. And it came up to the edge of the light, and it just had these like nothing for eyes. Have you ever read The Never-Ending Story?
No, I have not, but
it's great.
okay.
I suggest that they describe the nothing in a way that it's not darkness. It's literally like there's just, you look at it and it's like you can't see.
Yeah.
It's not that it's dark. And like that's what it was like in this thing's eyes. And I was like, fuck. And then it smiled and I was like, I'm dead, but it didn't come beyond the light. And then someone else came in because I guess someone else was on the early shift, and I like looked and I looked back and it was gone. I was like, I hate that. That sucks. And there was one other black person that worked at the warehouse. My boy Donovan. There's a bunch of white people and then us too. And he was like, I remember one time he had been like, don't ever go into that room without a weapon. Like when you're closing or you're opening, you bring something with you. And he had this stick. He was like, this is a good, it was like it wasn't a stick. It was a piece of a shelving unit, like a stabilizer. He was like, use this. You just walk in there and you tell him who's boss. I was like, all right, whatever. And then when that happened, I never went in there without that weapon again.
Hell yeah.
But that thing used to like pull out full comic boxes, which get heavy. Like those things, like
definitely.
full comic box is like,
oh my God,
40,
I can't lift one
like
now.
super heavy.
Yeah.
It'd be on a shelving unit and I'd be looking for a comic and I'd hear something, I'd look over and like 7 of them would just be pulled out from the shelving unit and shit like that. I was like, okay, man.
That is terrifying for
I'm
so many
straight up
reasons.
scared.
But one, I mean,
I hated it.
Hated it.
very brave to go back there at all. But I have to show you a picture of something, okay?
Oh, God.
Did you and I do a ghost story section for Little Girl or no? Because I talked to a few creators. I mean,
I don't think so. No.
Clearly we should have, you know. But I think it was Rosie Campy told me a story about something that she saw and she drew it. So I want to show you this picture that she drew, okay?
Have you heard of the Slender Man?
Yeah, you know what? When that started getting popular, I was like, but that's real though. Like, why are you internet? But like, it was like I felt that it was never human. Like, you know what I mean? Like you look at something, you're like, that was never a person.
So what Rosie drew, what you just said reminded me of what Rosie drew. Let me see if you can see it.
Oh my God! Yes, but not hairy.
Okay. Whew! That's scary.
And the eyes, it did have like this like hulking, but it was smooth.
Sketch.
Again,
Christ.
very haunted. I also worked at Forbidden Planet for a long time, and their location that was on the corner of Broadway and 13th.
Oh yeah, I've been there many times. Yeah.
And I know that for a fact because one of the workers that worked there, who I used to call Grandpa, he told me to call him Grandpa. Because he was older than me. He was really mad one day and did a ritual in the basement and like spray painted like all these symbols in the basement to like curse the place before he left, and it was cursed. Like that place was for sure cursed. There's
like
a Zoomies there now. Good luck. It's the Zoomies is cursed now.
Oh my God, is that why the stairs are so treacherous there?
Oh, up to the upstairs? No, that's just bad planning.
Oh my God, horrible, you know?
That was awful.
But I'll tell you this, and this is real. I'm never going back there now.
Well, it's no longer the Forbidden Planet. The Forbidden Planet moved to the middle of the block.
So the location that I've been to is probably a different one. Okay. Whew.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Pat's
now in the middle of the
ghosts.
Yeah, very, very scared of ghosts. I have like OCD rituals to keep my mind off of ghosts, you know? But
it keeps you safe. OCD. It keeps them away from you.
So
he said, I have OCD rituals to keep me away from ghosts.
I don't want to keep you too long, but I do have a question that's kind of a heavy one based on what you just said, right?
No way.
So with these ghost stories, I want you to tell me if you can, or if you've ever even thought about this, what do you think, in general, the afterlife is, if there is one? And I mean, if there's ghosts, there probably is one. But wait, what is?
I'm laughing because you asked the last guest this. Too.
Yeah, I mean,
you're obsessed.
I'm worried about what happens after all this.
Maybe you should see a therapist
or an exorcist. I was exorcised when I was a child too.
Really?
So yes.
Oh my God.
I mean, you're very much the person to be writing Cherry Gilbert with me, you know?
I was going to say, we're writing about necromancy, so...
Oh, wow.
I'm not sure what the afterlife is. I don't know. It seems to me, all right, so we talk in science, right, about how energy and matter and stuff can't be created or destroyed. It just changes kind of form, right?
Yes.
It goes from matter to energy, blah, blah, blah. So if that's true, then what the afterlife could be is just another form that we don't necessarily have access to with our natural born faculties, right? So like in the same way that we can't see dark matter or antimatter, any of the stuff that we talk about there, or even the particles that we talk about in quantum physics, right? It could be that that's what the afterlife is like. You're not gone, you just change into something else. And one of the things actually that really, really not drew me, but maybe like really resonated with me about your idea of necromancy is the idea that you're not calling the person. The person is gone on to whatever is next. Right. What you're doing is you are interacting with the after image or the little bit of energy that's left over from what they used to be here. And I that has always been something that I kind of like grokked with. I'm not sure if it's true. I don't know. I've seen ghosts and things that are not ghosts, but certainly not human. So I don't know. But I imagine that it could be something like a different state of being. And then what we sometimes see are maybe after images or beings that can traverse through in the same way that we talk about traveling through time or traveling through universes. Maybe that's the same, where there are some things that can just go, can be in other states, in other forms. So I don't know. I don't know if that's true. I think that primarily I'm just an agnostic in general, not because I need convincing of something, but because I don't have enough information and I don't want to rule anything out.
Totally.
Yeah, I think that there's a certain piece in being able to say, not only do I not know, but I can't really know. You know what I mean?
Like being okay with that.
What I do know is that we, in the very circle of life kind of way, persist, right? And there's all kinds of like weird research into like memory and experience literally being passed down, not just through genes, but physically through your stuff. So that's really interesting too. But the only thing that we do know is that we can't be destroyed or created. We just are.
That makes me see that I like to hear, because I feel like
Pat doesn't want to be destroyed.
I don't want to be destroyed. Some are comforted by certain things in science. Like one time there was this video, and I probably should have known better because it was on World Star, okay? And the title,
great start.
The title was "This video will make you feel okay with dying." So I was like, "Need this?" Right? Clicked it, and it was Neil deGrasse Tyson going on this long, and he was trying to be poetic, but he can't be, because he was talking about how your self lives on, because when you return to the ground, you will become the tree. And I'm like, hey man, okay, that tree, it's my energy, but I'm not tree food, man. I want,
there's like there's a, I think, wrong but interesting philosophical idea where you're made up of all these different little monads, right? It's like these little like things. Okay, maybe not atoms, but like whatever. And your consciousness is a special kind of that. So there's only one that can be conscious at a time. And the idea is you do return, but that one will then be conscious in something else. And I've always thought that was interesting. I don't think it's right, but I think that is a really interesting kind of idea and way to think about it, right? But it's scary, right? Like I am sure that if there was something before birth, we probably didn't want to be born. We were like, that sounds awful. Like, you know what I mean? But
that's true.
I don't think that, I think that the science that we know about matter, that's something to hold on to. We can't be destroyed. You can't do it, because you can't create or destroy anything in existence. It just is. Until we crack the code as to what's beyond that, I'll hold on to that.
I like that. I do. That's one of the few responses to this question with friends where I'll settle between comforted and not panicked.
He won't stop asking it though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes all we can hope for is not panicked.
Yeah, right? And yeah, I panicked a bit today, and I'll just say this
You
bit.
said fuck everything.
Yeah, I did say fuck everything. And I'm gonna get a bit into why, and then I'm gonna have I'm gonna wrap up. We'll do a bit of promo. I'll send people your way and just all that stuff. I just had to tell someone, a soul who isn't Amy and my mother, what's been happening. Okay,
Okay.
there is a group of kids.
Oh shit, that's right.
They are kids on bikes. I'll even say they're bandits on bikes. They have been coming to our apartment complex. I don't even know where they live. They could live here secretly. That they could live at the complex by us. They could live anywhere. What they do is they pull the outside fire alarm, and it is
I hate that.
I can't begin to describe the sound. It's not the
It's horrible, dude. I literally
Yeah, that's a
have to
nightmare.
plug my ears or else I can't stand it.
yeah.
Ugh.
I'm scared for the cats because their ears are big and open,
Heart attack.
And one day,
This is a bad time for that.
right? I'm like, hey, why are you even hanging out together? Ride your bike, sure, but just be alone, dude. There's video of these kids. The cop said that he couldn't do anything to the whole complex because they're like 16 or under.
My problem is the cops said they're not going to do anything to the kids, but they're about to like lock you up for murder.
Oh no!
That's what it's making you do. It's making you so and it's not just you.
Yeah.
The lady, our neighbor, ran downstairs and was like, I'm gonna fucking kill those kids.
Yeah.
Like the third time. Not
Yeah.
that you would ever kill anyone. I'm
No,
just saying
yeah,
like
yeah.
the fact that
I mean, what you got to do is set up a trap.
I told him, let's get like a
Just
bucket
like a
of ice
stink bomb
water,
or something.
bucket of ice water, put
Oh,
some
that's a good
dirty
one.
like cat litter in there.
Yeah.
And then just, because we're on the top level. So when they come to pull the alarm, just fucking dump that shit down on their heads.
I don't think it'll reach them from there, but
No, it's
You could do.
one
It's a
level.
good angle.
It's just
It's
one
a good
level.
angle,
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah. Like, if I were a bit more athletic, and by a bit, I mean if I were an Olympian, right? I could see them and jump down and like land superhero style right in front of them. It's that close, but if I tried it now, it's a wrap. For me.
there goes your knee.
Any
Yeah.
human.
But so I've had fantasies, right, where two things. One thing that I do is I put a bunch of Vaseline on the ground by the thing.
They just
Exactly.
That's smart.
And then I catch them, right? And then
Catch them in a net like in SpongeBob.
just cough on them.
that's my second one.
What is it?
Unless you're actually sick, in which case, please don't cough on them.
Right.
But if you're not sick,
Yeah.
just
But it's
Cough
like
on
these
them.
kids wouldn't give a fuck.
Well,
They'd
no,
be
no.
like, ha, okay.
What I would want to do is a bit more insidious. I want to plant a seed in them, right? I took I mean, it's pretty much a marriage between your idea and Amy's idea, right? I take the bucket of water. There's no catch it, because that'll be the most shocking thing. What I want to do is dump the water as they pull it, right? And then I say, enjoy my coronavirus, and then I just go inside. And they're like, wait, what, was it spit in there? Was it like pee? Like, one, how did he put his
They
virus
would
in there?
just smell it.
just get a little bit of yellow food coloring.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's
deep.
good.
That's
That's
deep.
good.
Make sure it's ice cold though,
Oh yeah,
because
because it's been sitting. I've been waiting.
right.
All right, so that's my vent about that. Now, before we promo, do you have anything that you want to vent about, just to be fair and clear?
No.
No, I mean, I'm a little
very
jealous.
sweet.
That's cool. Nice.
I
think it's really
No.
cool that you and your neighbors have like a little community going on. I honestly,
it's kept us sane.
Yeah,
You
it's
know what?
cool.
I do have something to vent about.
Hey, let's
actually.
go. Let's go.
Absolutely. So one of the things that has happened is that, we don't have laundry in our home. We're not allowed to. There's a bunch of places where you can't. There's somewhere you can, but there's a bunch you can't. And half the laundromats have closed in my neighborhood. And then the biggest one in the neighborhood has stopped taking drop off. You have to go do your laundry there.
Oh.
I'm like, that is the opposite of what people should be doing.
yeah,
100%.
Drives me crazy.
yeah, it's not
Like,
chill.
and also there's so many white people jogging in my fucking neighborhood with no masks. I'm like, just wear a mask.
Yo.
Just wear a mask. It's
simple.
You're actually worse. Like, they think that I'm going to be charitable and say they think because they're going quickly that it's not. It's like, no, it's the opposite. You're huffing and puffing. You're expelling all of that stuff way further.
And
like,
you're sweating like any kind of liquid. Yeah.
Driving me crazy.
You don't have to apologize for the white reference, because here's the thing. It's not only is that true, that specific thing you said is true. What happened to me is this. I went to the park because I'm a Pokemon Go player, and what I have been able to do is people are walking around the track. Now, what they're not doing is going on the grass, though. So I go on the grass and just avoid everyone. Because the track would be fine, except for the joggers.
Yep. Just huffing and puffing.
Yep. If I see someone else on the grass, the berth I will give them is dramatically more than you would need. The joggers, right past you. It's like the scene
they don't give a fuck.
In a Winter Soldier, on your left.
On your left.
Dude.
And they don't avoid you. They just like... It also would be, so I read this article where they were like, people that are jogging need more than the 6 feet. You need 20 feet because of you're expressing the air so harshly or whatever. But they'll just straight up just jog right next to you. You're just like you're not even trying.
It didn't happen. It's like, that's not the case. A quick exposure is still an exposure.
Yeah, it's work. It's you're expelling more droplets.
It's like you run by. It's like as if you're gonna go by them and go.
Yeah, like hard.
It's not chill.
Oh, I think we should be allowed to. This is terrible. When I was a terrible teenager, piece of shit teenager.
Yeah.
One of the things that we used to do is we'd go to the movies, and if people were talking, we would snap pennies at them.
Oh, that's not even that bad. Yeah.
That's pretty bad. that hurts. I'm just not going to do permanent damage, but it hurts. But I just wish that you were allowed to do that to I'm not going to call the cops. I'm never going to call the cops on someone. A, that's not me. I don't roll that way. B, especially not now. They'll throw you into a holding cell with 30 other people. Like, that's crazy. Yeah. But, I wish that I could just snap pennies at them when they were running down the street with no mask on. And just be like, no mask.
Yeah, come on.
No, that's totally fair.
And for the record, talking in the movie theater is, one of Pat's worst pet peeves.
Oh, I'm furious right now.
He's snapping pennies. That's not even close to what they
You just turn around and fucking
I'll tell you this. One of my exes, we went to see Hunger Games together on the day it came out, and we purposely chose a time when school was in session, so kids wouldn't be there. But these 3 girls who were clearly school age were there, and they sat right in front of us, and the whole time talking on the phone, and she tucked her feet up and she went boom 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 to the seat, and I was just like, I would have went out to the guy and told him that this is happening.
She's just like, no, this is street justice.
She's like, I handle this myself.
Oh my god. But yeah, no.
Damn, that sounds like something I would do. He's got a type.
I was gonna say, I like the penny flicking idea though. I know that.
I'm grown now, so I don't do it anymore. Now I just go, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But I think there's a difference between audience participation and having a conversation.
Rudeness,
so if you're enthused, I'm like, vaya con Dios, go with God. That's fine. People just talking on the phone drives me crazy. I'm like,
put the fucking phone away, for real.
It's egregious. But I'll ask you this: the next time that we're at a convention in 2022, okay?
Yep.
Will you
at least
teach me the penny thing? Just to have it in my pocket, because
Yeah, just you flick it.
That reminds me of
Can you snap?
Oh,
perfect. You're most of the way there. It's all about learning how to aim the penny. I used to be like Gambit with that.
You had the accuracy? Nice.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
An Olympian penny snapper.
That's awesome.
That's right.
So, just to wrap up, we have Cherry Gilbert Necromancer. It's on Kickstarter right now. I'm going to have the link in the description, and it's a book that we're both excited about. But now I just want to give you.
I'm also excited about it.
Well, yeah. I want to give you the floor. Talk about whatever you want, any projects, anything that you didn't get to say, and anywhere that you want to send anyone who watches this to check your stuff out.
Sure. If you are a digital comics reader, most of my work, if not all of my work, is on Comixology. You just search for Vita Ayala. But I have a couple of creator-owned books that licensed work I'm really proud of, but they have their own marketing teams, whereas creator-owned, you are your own marketing team.
There we go.
So I have a book called The Wilds, which my intention wasn't to take it down, so I'm not going to, but that's what the cover looks like.
Yeah.
I'm sure that I can get you a copy of the cover. And it's from Black Mask Comics.
Yeah.
It is a post-apocalyptic story in which the zombies are beautiful and they have flowers growing out of them and stuff like that. And that book is about exploitation and the way that we mistreat brown people and black people, especially black women, and how we don't have to take that kind of shit. But I didn't think anyone would care about that. So it has a bunch of really pretty zombies. It's queer and brown. And then I have a book called Submerged from Vault Comics, which is a contemporary retelling of the Orpheus and Eurydice myth set in the New York City subway system, which is actually hell, if you've ever been, ever taken the G train. And those two, I think. Oh, and of course, my newest creator-owned book, Quarter Killer, that is a digital Comixology original.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's still like 99 cents right now for the whole thing.
The sales there are amazing right now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so check that out. Please go to Comixology. It's called Quarter Killer, and that is a cyberpunk, hip-hop, Robin Hood of the Hood kind of deal.
Sick.
So
Comixology is great, too, because I'll speak for people like me who are like running out of shit to watch on Hulu and Netflix and stuff and just want something different and want something new and want something to fill their brain and their time and stuff. Comixology is a really, really cool website. I was even going on there even back when I was working before quarantine as a receptionist and stuff. There are some really, really great stories on there, and it's just a really neat website to check out and go and navigate and see. There's so many different kinds of stories on there. You're almost guaranteed to find something that you're really gonna like. So
absolutely. And I think most of your stuff, if not all your stuff, is up there too, right?
Yeah, what we do on Comixology is we put out our graphic novels in single issue form, so it's like chapter by chapter. We're in the approaching 20s of Destiny New York, and once it's done, probably starting in December or maybe a bit earlier, we're going to be putting out Cherry through that as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, but down below in the description will be all of your links for those who want to follow up on all that stuff. Do you have anything else that you want to say or add or ask?
I've got pandemic brain, so it's just
no. I mean,
it's like Swiss cheese in there.
No, to me, it was a nice, fun episode.
Yeah, that was super great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for having me. This was awesome.
Yeah,
your
for
cat's
sure.
freaking adorable.
Space between.